So let's be woken up with this story. There's a story of a king. Have you heard this story? Great. And the king one day calls on his most faithful servants, and he takes them in to the most extraordinary room, the throne room of his palace. And he takes them over to the throne itself, and he goes underneath the throne, and he pushes down his hand, and he pulls up something extraordinary. The jewels of the throne, below the throne, these are the most extraordinary things, and he puts them in his hand of his closest servant, and he says, I'm going to request something of you I've never done before. And they're astonished, they're afraid to even grab hold of these things, these jewels. They're so precious, they're beyond words, they're beyond price. And he doesn't even want to take it from the king. The king says, trust me, take it. And the servant is terrified. He says, take it. He says, listen very carefully, look into my eyes. I want you to take this carefully with your hand, and I want to cross the kingdom. I want you to go to the furthest outskirts of the kingdom, the farthest, darkest corner of our extraordinary kingdom. And I want you to bury it in the ground. And the servant was astonished. He was in shock. He, oh, what do you mean? You can't. These are the jewels from under your... No, he says, the king says, trust me, I'm the king. He says, but you can't trust me, I'm the king. But you understand it, so that what's out there, trust me, I'm the king. And the servant trusted him because he was the king. Now a story begins many, many moons later. Once upon a time, there was a wonderful kingdom. And in the middle of the kingdom was an extraordinary palace. And way, way, way beyond the palace, there was a wonderful city, a city of steel and glass. And further, further beyond the city of steel and glass, there was a city of stones and wood. And way, way, way on the very edge of the outskirts of this whole kingdom, there was the lowest, the poorest city, the city of sticks and mud. And one day, in the city of sticks and mud, one little family, like all the other families, woke up sometime before dawn, sleeping on the floor in sticks and mud, getting out of bed made of sticks and mud. They didn't have many shoes. Their toes went straight into the dirt, into the sticks, into the mud, and they wore these tattered clothing. And all they would do is they would grovel for food, grovel for any scraps they could find. They would eat worms if that's what it came to, the lowest species in the world, and that would just be their lives. And this family, a mother and a father and a few children, they would get up and they would drag themselves out of bed and they would try and clean themselves up, but not really, because they were covered in sticks of mud, just mud and mud and mud. It didn't make much difference anymore, and they would just walk out the door and they'd go work in the mine underground, just mud and mud and mud day and night. And finally they'd come home late at night, and they never saw the sun. And there was no sun in their world of sticks and mud, and all they had dreamt to sticks and mud, and all they lived to sticks and mud, and their whole lives were just sticks and mud. One day, the boy is walking towards the door, he's opening it up, a 10-year-old boy, a little boy, a young boy, and he puts his hand to the door, his family's right behind him, and he's going to open up his door. It's another day, he's on his way to work, another day in sticks and mud, and his hand goes up to the door, and suddenly his hand freezes. It's not the door is so heavy. It's just made of sticks, it's just made of mud, but he can't open the door, and suddenly he finds himself crying. He doesn't know where these tears come from, he doesn't know where these sobs came from. And his family like, what's wrong? And he says, I can't go. I can't do it. So what do you mean you can't do it? We're going. What do you mean? I can't go, I can't do another day, I can't go into the mine another day, I can't live in sticks and mud the other day, I'm overwhelmed by sticks and mud, I can't breathe, I can't eat anymore, I can't do it. They say, what do you mean? Come on. What are you talking about? This is sticks and mud. This is our life. This is what we do. I can't do another day. What do you mean sticks and mud? I can't handle sticks and mud. What do you mean this is our life? We've been doing this from generation after generation, from the time you're born to the time you die. Everyone's doing sticks and mud. Everybody's doing it. And he doesn't know what to do. They try and drag him there and push him. He's screaming, he's kicking, he's resisting. They don't know what to do. They just drop him in the mud and they walk off the door. Fine, be away. What are you going to do? You're just stuck in this world anyway. What are you going to do? And he just slumps into the floor, and they get up and they slam the door, and all like mud just falls down from the ceiling made of sticks. And he's just sitting there, and he doesn't know what to do, and he doesn't know where this feeling is coming from, and he doesn't know why he feels overwhelmed, and he just starts crying, and he's crying, and he's crying, and he can't handle the sticks, he can't handle the mud. And he's crying, he's just slumped on the floor, and he's crying. He can't explain why he's crying. He can't explain what started this fear, what started these tears. And the tears are coming down his face, are coming down his cheeks, and they're falling onto the floor. And as the tears are falling onto the floor, he doesn't realize, he doesn't see what's happening, but they're washing away the dirt, they're washing away the mud. Usually there's water on the floor, but this is a lot of water. It's washing them away, until he's finished with tears, he's exhausted from crying. And just coming down to that kind of sob at the end of a good cry. And he doesn't know where to go from here, and he looks down, and as he looks down at the dirt, he sees something very extraordinary. As dark as that place is, as dark as that room is, as dark as the mud is, there's something there on the ground. As his tears have moved the dirt and washed it away, there's something there on the ground. He doesn't know what it is. Something that shines, something that almost radiates. And he pushes it aside, and he pushes aside the mud, he pushes it aside the side, and he finds something extraordinary. He doesn't know what this is. It's some kind of bag. But the bag's open a little, and he opens it up, and he pulls it out, this brown bag, and he looks inside. And the most extraordinary thing is in there that he doesn't even know. His mind just explodes when he sees this thing. It's these rocks, but they're not like rocks. And it's kind of these stones, they're not like stones. It's kind of this glass, but it's like greater than glass, and it shines, it radiates, it glows. And it's the most beautiful thing he's ever imagined. It's greater than the thing I've imagined. If you're born in sticks of mud, that's all you can imagine. So what the heck is stuff? This is this stuff. And when he looks at this stuff, it's so beautiful. He feels overwhelmed by the beauty, like he's never felt it like anything in his life. And then there's a few things that cross his mind. And the first thing that crosses his mind is I have no idea what the heck this thing is. And the second thing that crosses his mind is that if this exists, then there must be a place in the world from which it comes. And he started to think that. Another feeling welled up from the depth of his being. How can I go on living another day in sticks and mud, knowing that these things, whatever these things are, these precious, holy, golden, glowing things, exist in this world? I can't live a day in sticks and mud knowing these are out there. And before he consciously realized it, he had unconsciously decided it. And he felt himself moving across the room, and he felt himself grabbing a stick and, a handkerchief, like those hobos, they put a little lunch inside, a couple worms, the little polka dot red thing, and he didn't know where he was going, and he found and says, I can't live here, I can't breathe here, I can't last another day. If these exist in the world, I don't know where they are, I don't know where they came from, but I must find the source of this extraordinary thing. And he started walking. He walked out the door, and he walked past the people on the street looking down at the sticks of mud, and they looked at him like, he's walking with a little confidence, with a little unusual kind of joy in his step. And like, where are you going? He said, I don't know. And where are you going? Like, why are you going over there? He says, I don't know. They said, I have to leave. He said, what do you mean leave? No one ever leaves sticks of mud. This is what we live. This is sticks of mud. This is our life, sticks of mud. This is all there is in the world. As far as you walk, there's only sticks of mud. And he knew that they're probably right. And he knew that there's nothing to explain to them. He's not going to show it to them. They're not going to understand it. That maybe they'll be jealous. Maybe they'll still love him. He didn't know how to explain it. And he just walked past them. And he walked past the sticks. And he walked past the mud. And he walked out of the building. And he walked out of the town. He walked out of the village. He walked out of the little place. And he just kept walking and 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 walking. And he was far from anyone, and he started to walk for days and days and days, and suddenly he started going, where the heck am I going? What the heck am I doing? And he walked and he walked and walked and he walked and walked and walked, and one day he came across something so amazing, he just couldn't conceive of what reality was anymore. A city of stone and wood. Everything in the city was made of stone. You know how hard wood is? You know how hard stone is compared to mud and sticks? And there was like a depth and there was a craftsmanship about everything there. And everything was like solid and strong and almost beautiful and like well crafted. And the people were almost beautiful and well crafted. And you know what it means to see like stones and wood when you've lived in a city of sticks and mud? And he started running up to people and going, I just want to give you a hug. I just want to say that. He said like the whole of his life, he made friends there, and he moved in there, and he moved into a house. You never guess what it was made out of. Stones and wood, you guessed, right? And he lived a life, and he got people had jobs, and people had responsibility, and people had a craftsmanship, and they were achieving something, they were building strong things, and it was like amazing. And he was like, my gosh, we were robbed. Why did nobody tell me about stones and wood? All my life I was sticks and mud, but there was stones and wood. And life got better and better, and every day was wonderful. Then every day was so much stones and so much wood, and so much you can do with stones and wood, especially compared to sticks of mud. And he lived happily ever after. Until one day he was going to chop down a tree to get some more of that wood, and he wasn't sure, he needed a sharpener. He put his hand in his pocket. With these pockets he had the sharpener, and he pulled out something. Oh, there's a little kind of bag. Oh, what's this bag? What's kind of a brown bag? Oh, what's in this bag? And he opened up the bag. Oh my God. This is so beautiful. And he said, whoa, wait a second, how did I even get to this place? He said, I'm not from this town of stones and wood. I'm from the town of sticks and mud. And it's just that I found this and I went walking, but I got so used to it. There was so much stone, there was so much wood. I kind of just got into the groove of stone and wood. You know what it's like to get into the groove of stone and wood? And I forgot about it, but wait a second, I don't want stones and wood. I don't even know what this is, but this is what I want. And that day he found his stick, and that day he found his little red polka dot thing, and he threw it over his shoulder, and he walked down. Everyone says, where are you going? Where are you going? He says, where are you going? You can't leave the stones and wood. They think where you came from. Think how far you've come. You went from sticks and mud, and now you're in stones and wood. Why aren't you happy? You're never going to be happy. But he couldn't explain it, and he walked out of those buildings of stones and wood, and he walked out of the village, he walked out of the town, and he walked into the forest past all these stones and all these trees, and he walked and he walked and walked, and walked and walked and walked, and walked and walked and walked, and then he started to go, why am I happy with myself with stones and wood? Why isn't that enough for me, stones and wood? And maybe there's something wrong, or why do I always have to think there's more, or why am I never satisfied? But he walked, he couldn't stop himself walking, he walked and walked and walked. And then one day you'll never guess what he came across. A city of steel and glass. Can you imagine? Sticks of mud, sticks of mud, sticks of mud, steel and glass. The buildings went up to the heavens, to the heavens. You don't just have one floor, you don't have two floors, they go up to the sky. And people are in these vehicles made of steel and glass, and they just go with these people inside, they just, and it's unbelievable. And they don't just like get in these little wooden boats and paddle across the river. They have these huge steel and glass things that go from one shore straight across the other, and he's walking, his eyes above his head of his head, and he just ran up to the people in the street going, steel and glass, you guys have steel, and they're like, steel and glass. He's like, steel and glass, and they're like, steel and glass, sticks and mud, and steel and glass, and he's like, unbelievable, and he makes friends, he makes family, and he breaks the microphone in the end. And the city of steel and glass is just overwhelming to his senses, and he got family, and he got friends, and he got an iPod, and everything was unbelievably good. And every day he would just like to get, like in the elevator, he would go to the top, like 50 floors, he'd get to the top and say, what did you want? Nothing, I just want to go up and down, steel and glass. And that would just fill his time, just like steel and glass and steel. It was like unbelievably, overwhelmingly good, and he lived happily ever after. Until one day, those machines that go, and they occasionally have to park them, and the parking needs a little money. He put his hand in his pocket to find a little bit of steel to put in the machine, and suddenly he found this little kind of brown bag. He put in his head, what's this brown bag? I remember taking this with today. He opened it up, and when he opened it up, oh my gosh, this is so beautiful. He started crying. Even compared to steel and glass, this was better. And as he opened it up, and he's so extraordinary this was, he couldn't even put the money in the machine. He didn't care about that thing that went, and he just walked, and he walked, and he walked past the steel, and he walked past the glass, and people said, look, we build buildings up to the sky. We leap across water. He said, it's only steel and glass, only steel and glass. It's only steel and glass. And he went. And he walked out of the city, and he walked so far. You don't know how far he walked. He walked until he couldn't even see steel and glass anymore. And he walked, and day and night, and he said, it's okay. And there's a city. I know there's a city. It's right across the horizon, right across the horizon. But what could you have after steel and glass? What's left in the world after steel and glass? What's left in the world after iPods? Surely that's, And he walked day and night, and he went every day. I was like, there it is. But you know what? It never came. And he walked through forests, and he walked over mountains, and he walked through valleys, and he walked across oceans, and he walked and he walked and walked. It never came. And then there was the longest night where he didn't know what it was to have a home, he didn't know what it was to have connections, and he yearned. You know what he even yearned for? I'm embarrassed to tell you. He yearned for sticks and mud. But he said, I'm not going back. I can't go back. Until one night, in the middle of the night, he didn't sleep anymore, he didn't rest anymore, he just walked and walked and walked. And one night, in the middle of the night, he was walking. was walking for hours and hours and hours and hours, and as he got, further across, he looked up and he saw there was the sun coming over the horizon, the first ray of light coming, and he walked, and while he's walking towards the sun, he's walking towards it. And he was walking for a couple of hours, and he kind of snapped out of the haze of walking, and he looked up and he realized it's kind of weird, this sun. First thing he noticed was that the sun's coming up a little early this morning. The second thing he noticed, wait, the sun isn't coming up at all. It's kind of just sitting there. That's kind of weird. And he walked and he walked and walked and walked, and a couple hours later, something even weirder happened. The sun rose, but over here. And he thought to himself, the sun's coming up here, then what's that like? And he walked and he walked and he walked, and his walk became a jog, and his jog became a run, and the run became a sprint. And he got further and further and closer, and something extraordinary was there, something brighter than the sun, something radiating more light than anything in the world. And he got closer and closer, and he began to see, this is a palace. This is a palace. And he got closer to it. He said, this palace, I don't know what it's made out of. It's made out of crystals and emeralds and rubies and every kind of precious jewel. It wasn't as great as what was in his pocket, but he was holding onto his pocket. He could feel it in his hand, and he started running and sprinting. He's running until it got closer. This extraordinary supernatural building that glows in the dark. And he ran down the path, and he ran across the bridge, and he ran over the moat, and he ran up to this door, and the building itself was made of crystal. The buildings itself were made out of glow-in-the-dark jewels, and he laughed out loud, and this is what he waited for, this is what he yearned for. He walked up to the door, there's one of those big kind of things on the door made out of crystals, jewels, emeralds, whatever it was. And he waited there, and he couldn't wait there. He was doing a little dance. He's like, yes, 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 thank you, thank you, thank you. And finally, he heard the footsteps come, and the footsteps come, and finally these extraordinary double doors open up, and there's a man there, and the man standing at this door is like 7 foot tall, and he's got this radiating, energetic face, and his clothes themselves are made of jewels. And the man looks down at this boy and says, yes? And this little boy is standing at the door, and he's just like, with all his heart and with all his being, he's like, I want to come in! I want to come in! And the man just looks down at him, and the man's just like, to where? And the boy's like, I want to come in here! And the man just goes, what? What? You want to come in here? You want to come in here? And the man starts laughing. And you want to come in here? And the man starts laughing and laughing and laughing. The boy's getting smaller and smaller and smaller. You want to come in here? And then the man's laughing and laughing and laughing. And the man says, look at you. Look at you. A boy like you come in here. Did you know who I am? Do you know what this place is? What makes you think that a boy, he looks down at his clothes, this boy's got clothes from a world of sticks and mud. What makes you think that a person like you belongs in a place like this? You know, I answered him. Do you know how to answer him? You have to know how to answer him, because in a few days' time in Yom Kippur, you are going to be asked the very same question. What makes you, a child of a world of sticks and mud, think that you belong in a place that glorious? And the boy, now feeling about 4 foot tall, because he was about 4 foot tall, and the most overwhelming feeling of his heart sinking. The MS, I'm a child of sticks and mud. The MS, I don't have a connection to this place. What does a boy born into that world know about these things? And he gave up. And he turned around and he walked away. He walked back across the bridge, and his shoulders just sank, and he put his hands in his pockets to mope all the way home. And And as he put his hand in the pocket, he felt something in his pocket. And he pulled it out. And he can't tell you even to this day why he did this thing. But he turned around. He went back over to the bridge. And he held up this little boy, this little bag, to this very big man. Like, take this. And the man started laughing out loud. What are you going to bribe me? What, are you going to give me 10 gold coins? What, do I look like the sort of you're going to pay off? That's what you're going to do? And he takes out of the kid's hand. What the heck do you think you're going to... And the man looks inside and his jaw drops. The man says, one moment. Doors closed. Pitter patter, pitter patter, pitter patter. Kerfuffle, 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 kerfuffle. Pitter patter, pitter patter, pitter patter, patter. Comes right back. Suddenly the doors open. Boy just looks up. The man says, we have new clothes for you. Put these on. He passes this boy unbelievable divine clothes of emeralds, of jewels, of every kind of color and form. The boy gets dressed up, leaving his old clothes at the door. The man says, come with me. And they walk into this doorway, and they turn around a corridor, turn around another corridor, and they come into this banquet hall, this massive hall. And there are thousands of these extraordinary people, and they're each of them glowing, and they've heard about this boy, and they've heard about what he brings with them. And there's a hush that falls out, like those guys walk into the Western bar, and the piano stops, and there's hush. That's him. That's the boy. Wow, he's amazing. He has those things. And they bring the boy into this room, and all the people look up and they look at this tiny little boy in this radiating costume, and they run there, and the boy's like, sees these people, and he sees these people he's dreamed of his life, of people like this, of clothes like this, of a place like this, and he wants to run over and he wants to taste the food, but the guy that's taking him in says, no, don't stop here, we have to keep going. And they walk past the people, they're like, hello, it's a pleasure to meet you, where are you from? And the guy says, no, please come with me. And the people are like, where are you taking him? You can't take, you're taking him in there, he's going to go in there, he can't go in there. And suddenly at the end of the room, and two massive doors open up, and the people are astonished, and as the doors open up, they cover their eyes. There's something so extraordinary in there, and they open up and they walk into the room, and the boy doesn't know what he's about to conceive. He can imagine all his imagination, all his dreams, what's in there. And as the doors open up, he walks into the room and the doors close behind, and the boy suddenly turns around and he realizes he's alone in there, and he doesn't want to turn around. Is there some kind of trick? And he turns around, and there he sees a throne. And there he sees at the end of the room, there's nothing in there. There's an extraordinary energy. And there at the end of the room, there's a throne, an extraordinary throne. And he realized that the throne itself is made out of the same jewels. That's the first time he saw, which are more glorious than even things the palace is made out of. But he can't even look at the throne for a second, because on the throne, there's an extraordinary face of love, of compassion of the king himself. And as the king looks up and the boy looks up and makes eye contact, the king leaps off the throne and runs to the boy. And the boy sees this king coming. The boy's overwhelmed. He doesn't know. He's overwhelmed. He doesn't know what to do. So the boy puts his hand in his pocket. He knows the jewel now, right? Well, they're going to ask him, who are you, and what are you here for? So he opens up the bag quickly, and the king's coming towards him. He's trying to get out the jewels, and he holds up the jewels to the king. And as the king walks towards the boy, he just pushes the jewels aside. He says, I know who you are. I've been waiting for you. What took you so long? That's Yom Kippur.